episode of the day, and I bet you this story it's wild. And if you have never heard of the daughter of TD Jakes by the name of Cora, the lady who recently got a divorce with her husband. Her husband turned out to be a weirdo. Mandem was called up to the police station. I don't know if he's still in police custody for doing weird Mandem type of things. Now, this story background of the divorce is important to the recent story because Bishop TD Jakes' daughter, Cora, has just landed into some other watches.
I was leaving a 4 or 5 year relationship. I had 3 kids already, and I was pregnant with my 4th born, Jason. When we got reacquainted, she told me that she'll be there to help me. You know, she told me that she was only there to help me. After I had Jason, it was just like I was just set up from the beginning. She was not there to help me. She was actually there to take my child. And she did everything that she could to get what she wanted, her and her husband. From constantly telling me that I didn't have my son for myself, to backing me in a corner in her office at her home when they stayed in Grand Prairie, her and her husband Brandon, and telling me that if I did not give my son to them, that they would take him from me. Making me feel like I was inadequate to take care of one child, although I already had 3 kids. Making it seem like she was there to help me, but the whole time she was planning and conniving to take my son Jason. After I had my son Jason, because while I was pregnant with Jason, I was depressed.
Search Reality Show, your daily Christian commentary videos. And on this particular video, we're going to be talking about Christian counseling and the importance of Christian counseling and what is dangerous counseling. And in this situation, you have something of a similar thing, something that's not good counseling, something that actually leads a person off into something that she is now in bitter tears.
I went into postpartum depression. I never dealt with that in my whole entire life or having children. I've never dealt with postpartum depression. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to deal with it. I just know that I was dealing with it. You know, and she took that and she prayed on my vulnerability to the point where she had me in front of a book recording and asking me questions, talking about it was counseling, but it wasn't counseling. Because later on down the line, a few years later, she would then use that evidence against me in court when I went to fight for my son.
This young lady is actually explaining a difficulty she has with depression, because she struggles with depression, and through her journey, she didn't know that there was a worse off position in depression. And so she had always had depression, but she didn't know that there was a worst position, like a position where you're just completely hopeless. She got to that level. As a member of this particular church, Potter's House, whatever, she then went to the church to get help, counseling and them kind of things. Now, the daughter of TD Jakes, Cora, who herself had, at the moment, I think she cannot bear kids. And so she had always wanted to have kids. And so in these sessions of counseling, it didn't turn out to only be counseling. Cora, hearing about the daughter or seeing the daughter, I don't know which is which, but in the process of this entire thing, Cora then influenced this lady to give over her child for adoption to her. This is TD Jakes' daughter, by the way. Okay, just in case you are forgetting. So she convinced this lady to give over the child over to her in adoption. After she did that, and by that time, the lady was homeless. Okay, so she couldn't keep up by herself, and also bring a good home towards the child. And she thought this was a really great idea to do so until she can gather herself. Now she's gathered herself. She went back there and said, hey, recently there's been stories. What are the stories? That your husband, Mandams, was out there busy, touchy, and what these articles that are all about that are talking about that. Mandam was busy being weird over there. Now, not only that, this mother then got concerned and she thought, let me go get my kid, okay? I'm in a better space now. Let me go get my kid. The daughter of T.D. Jakes is not having it. They are refusing with it. She's taking the subject all the way to thingy, and they are not even listening. At the moment, she even did an interview with Tasha. But the thing that concerns me about this entire story is that when you have something that is that could be seen as good, to say someone is not in their good space and they bring their kid, within a church, it should be in a position where if they come back later on, we can be able to allow them to do their parenting. After all, it's their child. After all, by that time, you know the situation by which this person was. Now, is it that these people don't know this story, or is it because maybe the parents never heard of the story, or they've heard of it? It's all over now. I mean, like, I'm talking about it. I'm in South Africa, okay? And it's been going on for months. The only reason I'm actually covering the story now is that they don't seem to be taking it seriously. So it's now about Cora, the daughter, that, okay, she's now bonded with this child and now she doesn't want to let the child back to the mother. Now, you had done a good thing when you took the child in, but then the mother now wants the child. Within a church setting, I think it would be right to do so. But hey, Baga Jakes, Baga Jakes, they are not giving up the rights. And the mother has reasons of concern. She's in tears. She's like, can I just have my child back? You know? And it's not happening. Now, in some churches, they don't even have a good counseling thing. Now, for them, they had something that was good enough to come to a point where they could take this child, even though they are saying that this might have been used for manipulation. I know nothing about that. For me, the fact that they had something to say, you know what, you can fall back on this until you get yourself back up, that was a good thing. But then they turned the good thing into something else. More like most of these charlatans who are out there, who 1 minute they are doing something, before you know it, that thing has been turned for evil. They will have a counseling, but just to know the weaknesses of people. Like we once spoke about one particular church that does that. They use counseling in order to determine the people that are in weakness. And later on, we heard that those particular counselings are done by the wife of the pastor. The pastor is accused of being a dodgy man business type of thing, occultic and all that kind of stuff. And before you know it, the man of gods would have already found a person as a victim in order for them to take advantage of. But the counseling is done by the wife. And then before you know it, they have passed them on. So you have churches that do that. And then you have churches like the Jakes' one, where counseling is being used to manipulate according to what this lady is saying. It's a sad story, and I thought I should cover it. If you haven't heard it, you can go out there, look at it. It's a wild story. It's a wild story, and I understand for Cora, because she can have her own kids. We wouldn't shame you for that. We do applaud you for taking the child, but now the mother is in good health in order for them to take it. Can you just give the child back?